think a lot of people expected that one to be really, really close. Didn't work out that way. So we'll see what they're able to do against ENCE, who came off a very hot match yesterday, and I think surprised a lot of people, especially with the way that they think that Lestream has a pretty high ceiling on this team.
So, ENCE getting their ban out of the way quite quickly. Empire thinking a little bit more about it. It's going to be Habana from ENCE and Ying from Empire. Interesting. I'm also somewhat surprised, to be honest, that Habana was the one banned and not Ashe. You talked about it earlier. Joystick does get counterbanned with the Ashe specifically, and actually it has been proven to work well against Joystick. When he's not on Ashe, he still frags, but not nearly as much. So, interesting that ENCE decided to get rid of Habana instead. Mira being taken out by Empire, and Echo will be the final ban.
Both the Japanese operators eliminated by ENCE, at least from this game, and then Ying and Mira, as you noted, from Empire here. Now, I think one of the reasons why you leave Ashe open is because Sleben can always fulfill that role
That's
too.
True.
You don't want to take that away from ENCE, and I mean, yesterday, Sleben looked like an absolute monster on that role because he was getting droned in repeatedly.
Who was it at DreamHack Winter? Was it Doki? Who was the joystick slayer? I want to say it was Doki.
From Vexed?
Yeah, it was Doki.
The Scott?
Yeah, and he was every time we saw him and Joystick go up against each other, it was Doki who was winning on attack and defense. And Doki was playing the same roles. He was playing the Ashe Jaeger, pretty much countering Joystick. So if you can bring someone to the table who fulfills the same roles but does it better, then there you go. There's your counter.
That's how counters work.
That is how counters work, Parker. I am explaining how counters work. That is what
Defenders,
happens.
protect your bombs from being defused.
We're playing on
by
Consulate.
attackers.
It's going to be a middle floor defense first. Interesting. That does happen. Consulate often talked about is that you can defend anywhere here, and you'll be plenty comfortable. There are some teams who do not like to go to the newest bomb site, but it's starting to get worked into the meta just a little bit more. However, slowly, I still don't think it's considered to be one of those viable bomb sites. And that's, of course, over here by where Scyther's drone is, in the Visa, and then right above. Or actually, no, right below, but you have to play above. You have to defend it from above.
10 seconds to go.
I know.
Do you? Do you, Parker?
I feel like we do. Excellent drone economy from Empire for the time being. They're going to keep all 5 alive as we head out of the prep phase and into live action, which will obviously aid them. And of course, you see how scary an Ashe main or a Twitch main or a Zofia main are when they've got an army of drones behind them. Joystick will throw up a drone himself. It's going to be admin office upstairs is the very first place that you try to take control of. Now, when you are attacking the bomb site on the second floor or when you're attacking on the main floor, admin office can be contested in a number of ways by certain teams, usually with a mirror window inside of the cafeteria area. That's up top. That is the window that Joystick, or actually the wall that Joystick is looking directly at, as the window right next to it. There you go. But there will be no admin control up top, which will essentially allow Empire to be able to take half of that second floor. The impediment that they're going to get is going to come by means of that projector room over top, which is where the drone is of Joystick right now, nailing down Bonesy's smoke.
And Bonesy's going to start with the gas canisters. That's pretty early to start popping those. Only a minute gone in the round, so that's great efficiency from Empire to trigger those already. And that's the second one already. That is just weirdly inefficient for Boonsy, and he's also eaten some damage, so it's not looking good.
I don't know what Joystick was just intending to do with that breaching round. I thought it was trying to take the castle barricade on the double door, but it looks like it missed because the barricade is still there. A loss of drones from Empire will not be that detrimental as the first kill goes to Shockwave, but he gets traded off.
What?
As Sleben just dives out, but Wilkie giving some covering fire with the artillery of Maestro and Shate is there, and all of Empire is falling apart as the Empire will burn in front of ENCE's very eyes. Scyther and Karzeka will square off in a 2v4 with a minute to go, so there's still time for Empire to be able to recover, but it's ENCE very firmly taking command of the driver's seat, or at least taking control of the match.
Where is Sleben? How did he make it out of that situation? Cannot believe he did not get refragged on that run out. Scyther and Karzeka, the last two for Empire, and they're pretty far away from each other, unable to support. You can see that Karzeka is going to start moving towards Visa as He's going to have to meet up with his teammate, but there's not enough time for him to go all the way outside. And it looks like they're just going to have to run their own game. Scyther just blind peeking, as he doesn't have any drones, seems to support himself. Shate's going to get a goo mine kill onto Karzeka. The DMR does not fail Scyther, though, and he's able to get one, but not two. Sleben, who previously was all the way outside, coming back into the building and getting the final kill. An excellent round for the newest player on ENCE.
He had some great assists and good support there as well. You saw that after he took the gamble to jump out the window, it was Wilkie, who was basically his guardian angel as he got pushed, which allowed Sleben to be able to get back into the building. All the while, I'd imagine that Empire's comms were quite lively, I would say, as Shate able to come in and capitalize on the pandemonium that was happening in their various VoIP program that they were communicating with. And ENCE will take round number 1. Now, I know that we say that maps are often defender-sided. By and large, the defense are actually winning more rounds than the attackers on most maps as of late.
Well,
and the defense should be winning. It's more remarkable when the attackers win. There's only one real map where the attackers win more often than not. It's typically Coastline, but even then, it's been kind of changing. But Consulate is actually has become one of the more defender-sided maps as of late, climbing up there with Clubhouse and Villa. So ENCE winning these rounds are good. The operator bans obviously matter here, but I would guess that if ENCE can run up the score, that they'll have a tough time when Empire goes on to defense in the second half.
Well, if that's true, then I mean we've only seen defender-sided maps today: Clubhouse, Villa, Consulate. So, I mean, I'm not exactly surprised by that, but it's definitely an interesting thing to note. Empire are going to be attacking the top floor now, and they will start on the east end. As per usual, you're going to clear out that admin office. Once you have admin office in your corner, you could focus forward, as you don't have to work too hard to isolate your flanks. You only have to shut down those staircases, and they're pretty easy to block up. Now, worried about an A balcony run out. Empire really could just put somebody on that balcony to put their minds at ease, but not going to expend that warm body. I'm going to choose to focus them instead on clearing out admin, which they have full control of now, just starting to drone into sight. And they know that there are 2 players playing inside a projector, which is going to be difficult to deal with. At the same time, there's not a lot of presence on big desk, which means long desk is an easy push if played correctly. They do have smokes in hand, as you can see, and the Guzmats from the lifeline. So that's a good amount of disruption that can be utilized to assist a push down long desk. However, it does not seem that Empire wants to rush their play right now. They're just trying to feel out this defense first.
You hear the logic bomb ring in the background now as we approach that halfway mark, and it's been a bit of a quiet round, all things considered, especially given the tempo that's been set by the teams today. So just a bit of deliberance on the side of Empire as they look to try to entry. And this site plays out very differently than lobby, depending on where you choose to attack from. Scyther will grab kill number 1, and Sleben, who was so important for his team, will be sidelined for the remaining minute of this round. He'll also eliminate the ability for a bandit to wreak havoc as a 3-speed with a pretty fantastic gun.
Shot. He's got some good positioning here, but he's got to be careful when he goes for this peek. It's all up to information. Someone needs to drone him into this site so he can get the kill on Boonsti, who's playing directly behind the bomb. But, oh, some missed shots there, and Boonsti is going to finally go down to Shock. Took him a while, but he finally got it done, and in a 2 versus 5, this looks to be an Empire round. Shate's in a power play position, though. He could potentially lock up long desk, which is going to be a location that is very heavily trafficked from Empire when they go for that final push. It's all going to come down to him winning his fights. And oh no, the smoke caught by an ADS. That is going to put a kink in the plan for Scyther and make this push so much more difficult.
They knew there was an ADS there, though, because the frag grenade from the Buck didn't get tossed out. On the floor is Scyther. Shate will shut him down, and Shock is there to finish off the rest of Shate, meaning Gomfi will need to start snapping off. He's going to take out Joystick, but he's going to have some coverage on the window of Connector, and that'll be all she wrote for ENCE. In that round, a good equalization from Empire, and great window control with no fear of runouts from ENCE to pick them off as they hung vulnerable just raining down gunfire into the sight of ENCE.
So, good job there to Empire. I like that they had some opportunities that were presented. Clearly, from their drone work, they could see that there were some positions, like long dash, for example, that maybe could have easily been pushed into. But they didn't rush themselves. They played the angle game. They played the slow game. Crossfires were established, and ENCE gave away picks. So good job to Empire with the patience there. Props for that. Now, it's going to be a basement defense for ENCE moving forward, and they're going to do a little bit of moonwalking here just off of the spawn, and it very likely means that their extremely amazing moonwalking is going to cause us to come back to our lovely faces and wait a little bit before we get everything rolling again.
I was doing my impression of you.
Was it like...
And they're all tied up at 1 apiece. ENCE is going to continue on defense for the next 4 rounds.
So they're selecting lobby right now. They went basement last time, so that's weird. But okay, lobby it is, it seems. All right. I didn't know you could do that.
I think this is wrong. It's 1-1.
Also, yeah, it's... Oh, okay. So we're just being told.
Okay.
So a lot of confusion. The score was wrong. The site was wrong. We're just now being told.
ENCE won
Yeah.
Garage. All right.
Okay.
So there was a round played off stream.
Yeah.
Our apologies for not being made aware of this. There was a round played off stream that ENCE won, and now we go back to lobby because ENCE opens lobby again.
So, okay. That means that ENCE has won middle floor and basement. They won middle floor the first time around, which means they get to go back here because it has been 3 rounds. So, cool. All right. We're on the same page now. All right. So, yeah. I would love to pick apart what happened on the bottom floor, but we have no idea. And we'll see them set themselves up here on the mid now. They've got a decent selection of operators like the 2 ACOGs because we're playing on the middle floor and there's a lot of long angles. The castle, of course, we saw that the first time they went to mid floor was very useful, especially on the top floor roam. It's a big part of how ENCE won this last time. They were really good at roaming upstairs. They did lose some manpower for free, essentially, but at the same time, they delayed for a good amount and they were able to get good fragging power down in the middle floor when it was needed because they were not too worried about that vertical pressure. Now, that was last time. This might be different. You see the same setup pretty much though from ENCE, and we'll see how Empire chooses to handle it. Shock again, repelling upside down on this what would be a balcony if the site were upstairs. Very powerful position that he's been able to do a lot of good work from.
Drone work being done up top. Once again, Empire is likely going to endeavor to try and capture this projector room above. And it proved to be quite a difficult thing on the previous attack for Empire onto lobby. And like we'd mentioned during the break, part of the reason for this was because of the run out from Slevin. Shock will toss in a frag grenade, because there's no ADS on the board for ENCE, as they have not run a Jaeger, so the projectiles and throwables from Empire will get maximum value. However, nobody from ENCE will sustain any damage. It's Gomfy playing by the opening side of connector. Oh, he sees on drone. He's going to pick away at the buck, and Shockwave will get upright after taking about 80 damage from Gomfy. A good bit of eyesight there for him to be able to catch that.
Yeah, and free damage, I mean, you can't hate that from ENCE's side. Could get the final kill, and there it is. Yeah, Shock with a nade primed will go down. That is unfortunate for the buck. Lots of utility just being wasted, and some of the most important utility, especially when you're going for vertical control. Joystick gonna hit some shots, but miss some others, and because of that, Bonesy will stay alive, coming out of connector. But his teammate, Gomfy, taken down by Karzeka, who was not expecting any pressure from the projector balcony.
Still holding that angle tightly as the rest of Empire begins their assault on the bottom floor, but it will be cut to pieces by Shate as he just tears through Scyther on a very long angle. Lesion's gun doing good work, even despite the fact that its damage had been reduced very recently. Empire losing their set of smokes as well to Scyther going down, but they still have one in Shepard's hands, as the Dokkaebi will need to remain alive and well. With Karzeka at the front door, they're in good position. Oh no, Joystick seeing Wilkie as Sleben takes out Karzeka. Both teams will lose a member. Karzeka is not as detrimental as the loss of Wilkie in that post-plant that could be done so well with a Maestro in play. Joystick still above, just crouch walking through the upstairs and try to take control of the hatches. Logic bombs will give away positions, and there he is, Joystick unimpeded with a big double kill. Snapping on Nabunsi and transferring over to Sleben. Around that Empire looked like they might lose, they actually end up walking away with a victory from.
This match has been as close as we expected it to be, going 2-2 at the very beginning.
I am impressed with the way that they have, the way they've come out swinging on both sides of the team. So overall, I think one of the big issues there, both members of Empire and ENCE just simply not paying attention to vertical control, and those hatches being worked so well from Empire above.
Yeah, Joystick also happened to be in the right spot at the right time throughout that round, it seemed. Got some really opportunistic kills, so great job to him being able to secure those for his team. Now, going back to the top floor, last time we were here, Empire got their first round win. So ENCE really do need to shore up their defense of this floor. A big part of why they were able to secure this round was that defense over by Projector was a little bit lackluster. And Shock, again, did so much work as the Buck, rappelling upside down on that A balcony to secure control. From there, Empire also got a lot of crossfires elsewhere on the map, just playing long desk from the spiral stairs and from Connector. Every single one of those crossfires allowed for pretty much nowhere that ENCE could maneuver. And every time they attempted to do so, they were caught off and picked off one at a time. So, ENCE need to find some more stable anchor positions in order to get a win here on this round.
I'm actually kind of surprised that ENCE has not bothered to try to hold admin at all through these 4 rounds. Not even the smallest bit have they attempted to hold that part of the map. And they've just, I mean, it's not necessarily map control. Having admin doesn't really always do that much, as a lot of teams will just concede it time and time again. But Empire is throwing in 1 drone into admin, and that's about it, and then Joystick is swinging on in.
Yeah.
You're not wasting any time as ENCE. You're not wasting any of Empire's time by having somebody play inside of Printer, or having somebody playing over by the cubicles in the northeast corner of the room. It's puzzling.
A big difference maker for me in terms of ENCE's defense when they won on the middle floor. The reason I think that they were able to win on the middle floor is because they had fallback positions. You know, they didn't have to die hard on their, initial hold because they could roam. Here on the top floor, they're kind of roaming, but at the same time, their anchor positions are being confronted directly by that admin presence. Put 2 people in admin, and that's going to, if nothing else, delay Team Empire a lot and limit their options when they go for the anchor push. So it's definitely something that I think I'm with you. They could utilize.
The lack of the Mira could possibly be prompting that, but I'm not entirely certain. It's something that could be asked of it on either of these teams should we have a winners interview. But it's been a lot of work from Empire to drone everything out. I don't know how relevant this information is going to be as Shock lights up the table but doesn't actually connect with Bonesy at all. It's going to be a joint effort as there's Karzeka from below and good coordination from 2 members of Empire to take Bonesy out of the fight, but Joystick has been cooled off by Shate. So both teams will lose a pretty important member of their team. The Ash main from Empire will fall, but you don't necessarily have that same plant denial, even though Bonesy had expended those toxic canisters earlier on.
Yeah. He has been using his toxic canisters quite early in these rounds, but at the same time, he's had one of the most high-pressure positions to play in this entire bomb site. And Empire have been very proficient at dealing with him in that exact spot. Going into the dying seconds of the round, though, Empire are in a good position to vault into A, but they're going to have to start doing it pretty quickly here. Scyther laying down the smoke, and it will not be caught by the ADS this time around, which is going to allow for easy entry into A, and a sub 10 seconds plant in the site. Karzeka goes down to Sleben, though, from below. The C4 has missed. Wilkie also gets one for himself, though. Shock uses the shield to take down Wilkie. Over by a long desk, Scyther gets a free kill because Shate is not checking his corners, and because of that as well, Cypher will down Sleben. It's all up to Gomfi. Possibly take out Shock on the balcony before challenging Scyther, but no, he's going to shift his priorities, and he will lose the round because of it. Great round there between Shock and Scyther. Perfect crossfire in the post plant.
A round that was going really well for ENCE, then turned towards going really well for Empire, and it held that way, and there was a bit of a scary situation when that C4 went off below. They got the plant off in the nick of time because you ended up with the Dokkaebi dying right as that diffuser went down. Scyther actually forewent to kill earlier into that connector, if you saw. He knew that there was a body playing in connector, but he needed to get the smokes out more importantly. So he basically decided that utility was more important than securing that kill for the rest of his team, and it was the right call to make.
Yep.
So Scyther, that kind of thing often gets looked over, depending on what happens amidst the action and the fury that takes place in any given round. But that decision from Scyther led to the smokes being able to cut off ENCE, and as ENCE realized they couldn't push through the smoke, they had to change. The rest of Empire was there to catch them. And it's the type of thing that you're not really going to see on the scoreboard. Pays massive dividends. Empire have at least drawn even through the first half of this matchup with a 3-2 scoreline, and they have done excellent with their drone economy. A team that not always known for a lot of droning in Challenger League have been doing quite a bit of it since coming into Pro League, especially in DreamHack Winter as their first real test against constant Pro League level competition. And it has been Empire who have been, I think, exceeding expectations on that front, but they have done an excellent job of keeping their drones alive through the prep phase and stashing them for use later on.
Yeah, Empire has definitely evolved a lot as a team, just in general, and I think in information gathering, that's one of their more notable improvements. Now, going on to the basement, we didn't see the last time ENCE defended this, but they were successful, or so the scoreboard says. So we're about to find out how they managed to pull that off, I'm sure, and if Empire will have a counter in play based on the last time they attempted to attack this. Now, in terms of kit, Team Empire have brought a Thermite, but they have no option for Hibana because she's banned, and they haven't brought a Thatcher, which means they're going to have to use vertical control to get the mute jammers that are potentially on the garage wall. Gomfi will be taken out by the yellow stairs thanks to some excellent droning from Empire, and Joystick with the excellent shot to follow up said droning. He's going to open up a rotation cutoff for the Visa stairs. Very wise to cut that off and allow his team some peace of mind when they're pushing towards Piano.
It's a bit reckless by Gomfi to just toss his life away and didn't really waste any time in doing so. It took about 40 seconds, I think, for Empire to be able to figure out where Gomfi was playing. And it clears up yellow stairs as well to a certain extent. So that's a big win for Joystick, who's just going to be perched over top of Visa stairs, just watching to see if somebody's going to push up. This could be a coordinated effort, actually.
If you don't need the Ashe for any particular entry or roam hunt, then she is probably the best operator to be on flank watch. The reason being, of course, she's 3-speed. She gets right back into the action like that. I mean, you don't really need to think too much about it. If it's a flank watch near your actual push, then maybe somebody else. But if it's a flank watch on the far end of the map, yeah, pick a 3-speed. Makes sense. Vertical control is established here for Team Empire, and they've managed to get themselves another kill. This one onto Sleben, who is roaming in the bathroom. And because that vertical control is established, the mute jammers are taken out, and Thermite is opened up garage wall.
This is where things get particularly hairy for ENCE, given the fact that they have a massive disadvantage in numbers in a 3v5, but Shate is in no position to rest easy. He's going to have what little cover sits above him destroyed by the buck of Shockwave, and Karzeka will finish off Bonesy, leaving just Shate and Wilkie inside of sight, trying to stop Empire as best as they can. But Karzeka's had a very impressive round, and he knows the position, but he can't capitalize onto Shate. He'll pull out the pistol instead and look to see if the Maestro will emerge. He's going to continuously take some damage as Karzeka gets ever closer, but every time he does take damage, it'll be given away. Diffuser goes down, and Shate will get one kill, but largely impactless as hatch control is sitting in the hands of Empire from above. You've still got Joystick on this flank watch, but they're not going to need him, as it was Shockwave and Karzeka being able to lock this out in an impressive round from Empire and an impressive set, as they'll take the attacking side 4-2 and Diffuser down both rounds 5 and 6.
We're on season 9.
That is correct.
And ENCE won season 6. It feels like yesterday, but it was so long ago.
That was in Sao Paulo.
Yeah. That's such a long time ago. Empire doing a great job here. I really have to commend their teamwork. It has been tremendous. Every single thing that they're trying to accomplish is done quite succinctly. I really do like the way that they're accounting for everything. A lot of teams will overlook things like watching the Visa Stairs flank. And, you know, you could make the argument that, well, Joystick didn't need to do anything from that flank watch. He did not need to get any kills. But at the same time, it just shows a thorough team. And I love to see that. I do like to see that. It means they're showing respect to ENCE, and they're accounting for everything they know could potentially happen. And yeah, it's nice. I like to see it. I also appreciate how efficiently they took control of the top floor and then took control of Piano. They didn't do it in one fell swoop, as some teams often will. They decided to do it in a step-by-step process, and they didn't lose control of anything that they gained control of later in the round. Good job to Empire, and that's what allowed them to isolate the site so efficiently and deny any potential Hail Marys from ENCE. Also like this setup.
This is interesting. We've seen a couple teams do this with Evil Eyes before, especially in Oregon in the laundry room basement downstairs, usually where you'll see a Mira. A team will shoot out the top of the laundry room closet, and they'll put a Evil Eye cam up there, which will give you a pretty good viewpoint all the way in. I've seen similar things on Coastline as well. Haven't really seen that much of it with Consulate, so it's nice to actually have it emerge just as another site where you have tons of opportunities. And Maestro does tend to get banned quite a bit, especially against certain teams, so not really always able to see the best that teams can do with him. So Gomfy now on Ash, not Sleben. It's going to be Sleben taking the role of Thatcher. So fragging potential with that L85 as Empire will get paralyzed for about 5 seconds as those Dokkaebi calls will ring out and everybody will have to stop to turn off their phones. Look at that. Gomfy just peeks over the hatch and there's Joystick from below. Shepard opening up the drop, allowing Joystick to drop down and now head over towards the Visa side of things. It was good coordination with Karzeka down below, also calling it. Oh, a beautiful peek from Joystick, and Wilkie gets sent back to the Shadow Realm as that Jaeger is just going to continuously rotate. It'll be very difficult for ENCE to be able to pin him down.
Wilkie is from the Shadow Realm?
I banished him to the Shadow Realm. Have you not heard that turn of phrase?
I didn't know that it was specific to Wilkie, but I now do.
It's not specific to Wilkie, it's just a good reference.
Oh, okay. I don't know the reference part. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm ignorant to your reference. Okay, so Gomfy on low HP, and Joystick also having taken quite a lot of damage. But at the same time, Empire have put so much pressure on ENCE that while they have the control that they've been seeking, it feels like they've been through no man's land to get it and lost quite a lot of their power in the process. They're continuing to lose that power. Every time they take an inch, it costs them. Sleben opening up, using his breaching charge above the bomb site, but he takes damage as a result.
Amazing how little has been accomplished by ENCE in regards to this round. They're finally getting open those garage panels, but some teams will wait until the bitter end in order to do so. Shate engaging with Shockwave as Karzeka takes off Gomfy. Both teams will lose one. You take the mute out of the equation. And finally, ENCE can begin their assault onto these two open garage panels. Toxic Gas will await Bonesi to see if he can push in, with Karzeka still having a Nitro Cell in hand, but he's got pressure from above. The Nitro Cell will miss. He's got pushed it up from Sleben. Karzeka will fall, but Sleben gets taken down as well, finished off by Scyther's Evil Eye. Shepard takes out Shate, and Bonesi will have to abandon the plant. They cannot get back on it. Frustration from the Thermite as Empire will just hide their remaining members, knowing that time is ever on the side of the defense in those circumstances, and it'll be yet another round going in favor of Empire in the first of their defensive stint.
Empire look in commanding form right now. Honestly, ENCE just are not comparing. I mean, a lot of these fights that you would imagine should go the way of ENCE are actually going the way of Empire, and that is, it's right. It actually reminds me a little bit of the secret G2 match that we were watching earlier today. G2 were losing a lot of fights that they really just should not have been losing, and it's not because necessarily they were getting outplayed. It's more just missing shots, bad mistakes. Empire, on the other hand, though, jump off of critiquing ENCE for a second. Empire is playing exceptionally well, and again, I really do appreciate how thorough they are being, not only on their initial clear, and on their information gathering and the backup behind those drones that are clearing out the site, but also on locking down those flanks. Now on defensive side, they've managed to make ENCE work for every single inch, and that was what I was pointing out in the middle of the last round. Every single thing that ENCE would take, whether it was top floor control, whether it was piano control, opening up the garage, all of that stuff cost ENCE either a life or some amount of damage on one of their players. And that is what we wanted to see from ENCE. That's what you were talking about when you brought up the lack of any admin presence when ENCE was defending the top floor. Oh, okay, so that just adds to it. That's just bad.
They keep calling you and nobody's answering, Wilkie. Well, it's joystick there that time. And you lose one set of smokes. They still have Shate smokes available for them on ENCE, as I'm sure the reverberations of that spawn peak onto Wilkie will be felt throughout the course of this round. If Empire is successful here, it will be match point. So getting an early pick is crucial. And as you said, once again, no real admin presence at all, except for joystick spawn peak.
Right. But they made ENCE work for admin control. Now, even if they're not defending admin, it cost ENCE a player. That's what we were talking about, that you need to make your enemy work for it. Because there's only so much you can actually defend on a map like Constant. If all things considered, it's a pretty shallow map in terms of how much the attackers have to take control of. So something like, admin control, it's ground that you can make work for you, and joystick was capable of doing that here, even if he wasn't playing in admin for any prolonged amount of time.
No, and obviously Wilkie's ability to stop the attack or the defenders for 5 seconds or longer with those phone calls, the ability for him to have also 2 smokes and have I mean, Dokabee's kit is not that strong as a fragger, but there's definitely fragging potential there, right? So those are all things that you lose, and then on top of that, you also just lose a body in which you likely have a strategy revolving around 5 people being alive.
Uh-oh.
Joystick will find his second as he runs out and takes out Bonesy. That was the Blackbeard that had engaged with Shockwave. Joystick looks like he might actually be able to make it back, but Scyther is pinched by Sleben, and here we go. It looks like finally an execute. Shock will miss most of his shots, pull out the shotgun, and just completely whiff as Sleben picks up his second. Joystick grabbing a third before getting silenced by Gomfi, and there's life still in ENCE, as there's many kills that occur in the very short span of 10 seconds. Trying to choke off the entry from Visa is Shepard. He's going to come out, and it doesn't look like he got it. Shate will be successful in his endeavor, but Karzeka takes him down. Diffuser as well, so Karzeka will need to work against Gomfi. As a Doc, that's a perfect opportunity. He's still got 1 stim pistol as well to possibly juice himself very patiently. At the bottom of Visa's stairs, Karzeka doesn't really know the exact location of where Gomfi is. Diffuser hits the halfway mark, and it's all up to the Ash to wait. Hearing the sounds of the Doc from above, going to defuse, and there you go, Gomfi pops up, and it's routine for ENCE in the post plant. A bit anticlimactic, assuming that there would be action taking place, but the right call from Gomfi to just hide, and Karzeka, being completely blind to the position, will give ENCE a round that they desperately need, staving off match point on behalf of Empire.
A very close round, though. It could have easily gone the way of Empire. You got to give props to Sleben and ENCE as a whole for coming back there after all of those early picks from Joystick. We made note of how Joystick was able to get that early kill, which cost ENCE when they were taking into admin office. There was also something he did after that, which is run out and take down the Blackbeard on A balcony. How many rounds did Empire have somebody repelling on A balcony and nobody from ENCE did anything about it?
Defenders,
I mean,
protect your
it
bombs
was
from
actually
being
kind
defused
of
by attackers.
comedic at some point when you have that Blackbeard on that window, or Shock on the Buck. I mean, he switched roles later, but either way, whatever he's playing, he did a lot of work from the A balcony, and just there, Empire on the first attempt from ENCE to repel on that balcony shuts it down. That's good situational awareness from Empire and good initiative, and it's just, yeah. I'm even more impressed with ENCE that they managed to bring that round back, to be honest, because it should have been an Empire round.
10 seconds.
Well done, Slevin again, specifically. Now, it looks like it's going to be the same site. Empire is aware of how close that round was, and they are confident they could bring it back here in the second attempt.
Attackers recover the diffuser.
We'll see what they give us.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
I wonder if we're going to see a spawn peek this time around. Still time, but no, there's not going to be. But breaking a lot of windows. This is going to be just ever-present in the back of ENCE's mind for the remainder of this matchup is be very careful with your approach because you never know what's going to happen. I think we got a good glimpse of it there with Shate staring at the window for a solid 5 seconds, wondering, oh, Joystick does indeed go for the spawn peek. It doesn't work out this time around. The pair of Shate will be the ultimate victor in that battle. And you'll take Joystick, who had a 3K in the previous round, causing absolute terror in the hearts of ENCE and their fans.
Yeah, good job there to Shate, shutting down Joystick. So the risks that Empire have been taking, finally working against them. Props to Shate for landing the shot. Now, he's already made his way actually to long desk. This is impressive efficiency from ENCE.
Bomb located.
Shate managed to get a kill and then working his way inside very quickly. You can see the melee holes there in the connector wall and the bullet holes. The melee holes are used as a distraction so that the bullet holes will not be shot at. And Karzeka is hoping that somebody will peek into him and he'll land the shot. Knowing Karzeka, it's likely.
It's a good call here by Shepard just to watch the balcony over by the bomb site. A, knowing that there's going to likely be somebody on rappel there. Perfect place for Bonesy's Blackbeard to hang. But he's upside down, so he's not really in a position where he's vulnerable to the smoke. Now that he's touched down, this could be a good opportunity, but Shepard will miss his shots as Bonesy breathes in some of the toxic phase.
Oh no!
Shate got finished off just a couple seconds earlier, but Gomfi will find Shock. So ENCE will regain a numbers advantage that they had for most of the first part of this round. Now, with Wilkie still alive, perfect time for those logic bombs to go off and keep everybody in place. Knowing that there's proximity on those sounds, oh, Bonesy almost gets the diffuser off, but he gets destroyed by Shepard because there's nobody there to cover. It was Gomfi, but Karzeka is able to cut him down. And Empire finds themselves in a massive advantage, still letting those phones ring. Waiting to see who from ENCE will be the next one in, and it's going to be Wilkie with Scyther there. And, oh my goodness, we'll go to match point with Shepard grabbing Sleben, and ENCE picked the wrong door to enter through.
Good holdout there from Empire. ENCE actually looked in better form going into that round, but they could not make it work in the end. Now, the smoke use there was, I think, the biggest difference make, because the shotgun blast actually downed the planter that time around. In the previous attempt, it didn't. I'm pretty sure, by the way, the reason that it didn't is that little desk that the attacker was planting next to. And this time, the little desk was there as well. Just got a little bit more lucky with the pellets. I think it might be prudent for Team Empire next time they defend that top floor to shoot the desk in advance. But we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do. They might not actually make it back to the top floor, all things considered. In fact, I don't think they can. But, oh no, they can. But it's unlikely, considering how Empire has been playing. They might lock it out right here and now, seeing as how they're on match point, going down to the basement, a site that they are very comfortable on. The first bomb site they defended when they went to the second half, and they were successful here.
The match on the line to see if Europe will continue to have yet another. Oh,
10 seconds left.
What?
Nothing at all.
Wow. Wow, Parker. I didn't see it until you brought it up.
I didn't say anything.
Okay, I kind of did, but whatever.
I didn't say anything. It just looked like it looks like a very weirdly placed rotational. That's what I was commenting on, Michael. I wouldn't have.
It looks like a, yeah. Well, it's the same rotation hole that they opened up last time.
I know.
Parker.
I know. It was good. It didn't look like they were going to be able to get it this time. So good for them. But
yeah,
anyway,
they got it. They did
got
do
it. They did it. They did it. They definitely did it. Anyway. Going down onto Garage, there's still opportunity for spawn peaks here. ENCE is still going to be slow to approach the building, and you can see every single member of the team is hugging cover as best as they can and watching all of the windows. Admin control is not as important, obviously, for the defense when they're defending into the basement. Empire does have bodies on that second floor, and Consulate does tend to be one of a small number of sites where you're likely going to have presence on every single floor. Goffy's entry will be very short. He has 40 seconds into this match, 50 seconds. But a great C4 from Karzeka will eliminate Gumphy from play.
That could have been a pre-placed. I think it was, considering it was an Ash, and Gumphy looked to be moving. You could tell that he was moving probably in a sprint because his body flew so far from the initial explosion. Probably had that extra momentum. But, yeah, a little bit of a oversight there from Gumphy. You can't really blame him for not drawing out below necessarily. I think it more falls to Karzeka's excellent placement of the C4. Now, with that advantage established, Empire are poised to take this match right now. And Joystick's going to extend the advantage by taking out Sleben. That right there, that is inefficient droning from ENCE. They did not check behind CEO desk, and all Joystick needed to do was wait for the opportunity and seize it. And he did just that. So now ENCE find themselves in a corner on match point. It's not good.
And that's also two of the main fraggers from ENCE down, which is even worse, right? They will have a counter punch there as Joystick, who was roaming, gets caught by Wilkie downstairs, not too far off site. He's assisted by the logic bomb, as there's still one left at Wilkie's disposal for whenever he needs, is to be able to try to not just give away the location of the defenders, but also freeze them for a moment or two. ENCE will go back onto drones as they still try to figure out where exactly Empire is. Now, I don't think those 2 kills onto ENCE came at the right time, and because of this, they didn't really know exactly where Empire's location was. 2 bodies inside of the office will be met with a logic bomb. Shock pivots, and he sees the thermite. This is a beautiful round for Empire as Karzeka gets in on the fun, and Shate will need to get the rest, but there's Karzeka. Excellent play. A huge round from the Pulse. It just makes it absolutely routine. Empire will join Chaos as the only team to still be undefeated in EU Pro League. And they do so quite easily, actually, over ENCE. That was not as close, I think, as either you nor I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go all the way to the draw, to be honest with you. I mean, at this point, the way that that round, or that match rather, played out, it seems as though Empire might be ENCE's kryptonite, because it just is a different ENCE that we're seeing playing here. They have moments, like spontaneous explosions of absolutely insane skill on the ENCE side, stuff we're used to seeing from them. Round recoveries, like their attack onto the top floor, the one attack that they managed to win, second one round in, where they really should have lost, but they managed to bring it back out of seemingly nothing, thanks to Sleben and his excellent gunplay. But there are, I think on the routine side of things, Empire is clearly just outplaying ENCE. I mean, the stats don't lie, but it just, that's the way it feels. It feels like ENCE is really struggling to get their feet on the ground and start throwing those punches that we're used to seeing them throw.
The one thing with Empire that obviously is so confusing and perplexing to a lot of teams is trying to track Karzeka, trying to track, you know, Shockwave, trying to track Joystick. Just the movement patterns that these players have are so unpredictable. We saw it from Joystick as well. He spent half of the match crouch walking across the second floor and literally drops through the hatch and picks up a 2 kills right in that fast of an order to win the round for his team. And he basically came out of nowhere with nobody expecting that to happen. You got to give credit where credit is due. There are a couple entry fraggers who always seem to have their team enable them to find the quickest way in towards the site, or in towards a roamer, or in towards a possible encounter with somebody on the defense or on the attacking side, depending on which way they're coming from. Joystick is definitely one of those, and Karzeka is always there as the 1-2 punch.
Yeah, Karzeka and Joystick have excellent coordination, but I believe you have someone to talk to, Parker.
Speaking of Karzeka, we'll bring him up on the screen for you, and we'll interview Empire and congratulate them on their victory.
Hello.
How are you doing? Congratulations, first and foremost. I'm sure you had a fun match there. Your first takeaway, you come in, you're brand new to Pro League. You've now played 2 Pro League matches under your belt. You're one of 2 teams that are still undefeated. What was the preparation work coming into this matchup, I would say, these last 2 days, because you haven't had a lot of time to prepare? I asked the same question to everybody. How did you get ready for your match against ENCE, given that you only had 24 hours after your first match against Penta?
I mean, after yesterday's match, we find out that we have struggling with the adaptations mid-round. So, as you can see in yesterday's match, we were losing 0-4, and we couldn't adapt at all. And after that match, we worked on that, and you can see that in ENCE match, we did adaptations good, and we just find out our play style, and we just won the game.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's it.
A lot of people give Joystick praise for his fragging potential, and there's many that give you praise as well for your ability to frag. But one thing that we noticed was on almost every single round, you were excellent at stashing your drones and keeping all of your drones alive. How important to you as a team is it to ensure that you have the people to do the drone work necessary to allow Shockwave, to allow Joystick to get the frags needed through the start, middle, and end of a round?
Yeah, I mean, our idea is that the information in that game is the strongest thing you can make. So we are trying to save the drones. We are trying always to have someone like Joystick always follow the drone. So we don't lose the drone for nothing. And we are trying to get that better and better. And now it works. I don't know what will happen in future, but we will try make it even more better.
Absolutely. When you look at a map like Consulate versus a map like Coastline, Consulate, you usually need a lot more map control. You usually keep somebody on the second floor, on the first floor, and on the basement. Something that we noticed was that neither you nor ENCE really ever controlled admin at all. Now, admin is not exactly a part of the map that you need to hold, but I'm just wondering, as somebody in a Pro League capacity, what would be the thought process behind completely letting go of admin and not bothering to put somebody up there to try to waste time or hold control of the second floor?
I mean, if you're playing office, if you try to defend office, you need to play there aggressive. But if there is 3 people rappelling there from different windows, and they had Capital and Tokayabe as well, so it's kind of hard to work out there. But we just gave the admit, give it to them, and then just kill them on the side. And wasted as much time as we could, and insane entry kills from Joystick. So yeah, that's it.
Killing them on the side is a very good way of putting how you played throughout those both attack and defense. But that ends the questions from me. Anything to say to your fans, to your sponsors, to your team, to the viewers, etc. at the end of this interview?
Yeah, I'd like to say thanks to our fans that believe in us even when we are losing like 0-4 like yesterday. That's cheers for all the true fans. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Best of luck in your upcoming matches, and congratulations again today.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you.